Friends, we are very happy to inform you that e-modules are prepared for B.Ed program at Telangana by the School of Education, Osmania University under Pandit Madan Mohan Malaviya National Mission on Teachers and Teaching Scheme MHRD New Delhi. It's indeed our pleasure to share with the teacher educators and the prospective teachers and get maximum benefit out of it. It's a first of its attempt by us. We continue to add many more such lessons to share with you all.
I'm Rafiya Sultana, Assistant Professor from Ghulam College of Education. Now coming to the Unit 6, today I'll be dealing with the subtopic 5. It deals with the Constructivist Approach, Collaborative Approach and Eclectic Approach. Now what are we going to discuss regarding these approaches? Let us see what we'll be doing with this. First of all, we will be discussing about the objectives, concept of that, all the three approaches, the characteristics and the principles involved in the constructivist approach, collaborative and eclectic approach. What is the role of the teacher in these three different approaches? What is the role of the student? And what are the different classroom activities that can be carried out in these three different approaches? Now coming to the merits and demerits of these three approaches as well as the evaluation, there are few questions for your improvement or to know what you have gained through this session. And at the last you have references. By referring these sites, you can get more information related to these three approaches. Now first we'll start the session with the objective of each approach. So first we talk about the constructivist approach. What are the objectives of this constructive approach? Now this approach will enable the learners in a problem that becomes relevant and meaningful. That is, the students are being aware of the problem and the students are being engaged in the problem and they become more relevant and meaningful to them. Once they get engaged and then they try to solve it, it becomes relevant and meaningful to them. So the next objective is organize the curriculum into activities that will address broad primary concept of it. So this objective helps the learners and the teachers to carry out the curriculum smoothly. And the third objective of this approach is to seek out and value the students' perspectives, because we are talking about the constructivist approach. Construct means to the child is given freedom to construct his or her own knowledge and understanding of the world. So this approach will seek out and value the students' perceptions. It also encourages the students to investigate and challenge their assumptions and suppositions. What they have framed their objective, why are they learning it? That will encourage the student to investigate more and more toward the challenging prospects. It also, the other objective is to use assessment to guide student learning. That is, whenever you are evaluating or assessing the student, that will help the learners to learn more and more effectively in the classroom. Now we'll see what actually is the concept of this constructivist approach and what is the meaning and origin of it. This constructivist approach is based upon the theory of constructivism. According to the theory of constructivism says that people construct their own understanding and knowledge of the world through their experiencing things and reflecting on these experiences. So when they are experiencing something, the child is learning on their own. They'll try to understand it and they will construct their own knowledge based upon that understanding. So after constructing and analyzing, they will reflect this one. What they have experienced through it, they will try to reflect it. So in this way, the learning will take place according to the constructivism. And this constructivism is mainly based upon the belief that learning occurs in a situation where the learners actively participate and construct the knowledge and understanding of the world, rather than being simply passively receiving the information from the teacher. So based upon these beliefs and the theory, constructive approach came into existence. So there are few psychologists who have given an idea for this approach. Constructive approach teaching methods are based on the constructivist learning theories. Scholars such as Ernst von Glassfeld trace the origin of this approach to the philosophies of the Immanuel Kant, George Berkeley and Jean Piaget. And all these are the famous psychologists who gave the theory of constructivism. So, based upon the contributions of the John Dewey, who talks about the pragmatism, that is the construction of the knowledge, involvement of the learners in the practical aspect. When they do practically, they get experience over it. This was the philosophy of the John Dewey. So, all these psychologists gave a belief and assumptions based upon that constructive approach came into existence. So, as we are talking about the theory of constructivism, here we give an example to try to understand how the learning will take place. As people will be experiencing the world and reflect upon those experiences, they build their own representations and incorporate these new informations into their pre-existing knowledge. What they are getting now, they try to correlate with what they have learned previously, and it is there in their mindsets. That is called as a schema. So, this is related to the process of assimilation and accommodation, we call it as. Now, here assimilation is referring to the process of taking new information and fitting into the existing previous knowledge which they have it in their minds. That is the schema, that is what is existing is in their mind is the schema. So, they try to incorporate the present information with this schema. This is called as an assimilation. And the next concept was the accommodation. It refers to the using new information to revise and develop on existing schema. Just first one is assimilation, taking and trying to fit it. When you are fitting it, and now you try to use that information, that is accommodation, adjusting one. So, for example, here there is an example which will be giving the clarity about this assimilation and accommodation and how constructivism learning takes place. For example, if I believe that friends are always nice, yes, everyone knows us, all the friends are very nice, your friend is nice, your friend is nice, yeah, all the friends are nice. And meet a new person, and it happens that I met a new person who is always nice to me, and all my friends are nice, and this new person is also nice. So, I will be expecting that he is nice only and feel it to me. I may call this person a friend because he is nice to me now, the new person is nice to me, so I will also call him a friend, assimilating them into my schema, because the first existing knowledge is my friends are nice. This new person who I am now is become friend. So, now I am trying to correlate it with my existing knowledge there. So, perhaps however I meet a different person who sometimes may try to be harder and it not always nice, try to just attempt to be nice, but he is not actually nice. So, I may need to decide it to change my schema now, or to accommodate this person by deciding a friend does not always needs to be nice, but you can try to accommodate that he cannot be always nice, sometimes he can be nice. So, if they have my best interest in my mind, further this may consider whether the first person still fits in my friend's schema or not. This is up to me how we are going to assimilate or accommodate it, now use it off. So, this is the process of constructivism which involves the assimilation accommodation, through which the child experiences, constructs their own understanding and knowledge, as well as experiencing and reflecting on those experiences. Now, coming to the principles of constructive approach. Here, Mary Burns and Melio McCann and Vicky Demox identify 6 principles which are important of constructivist approach. They are, the first principle is the learners brings unique prior knowledge, experiences and beliefs to the learning situations. This is the main principle, because what you are gaining, the new information, is based upon the previous existing knowledge of the learner and their beliefs and experiences which they have previously. So, the new learning will take place on the basis of the previous existing knowledge. The second principle is knowledge is constructed uniquely and individually, it is not in the group. Individually the student has to construct their knowledge, and it is unique, the knowledge which is constructed by them, in multiple ways, not in a single way, in multiple ways you can construct the knowledge through a variety of authentic tools you can use it, resources you can use it, experiences and the context. So, the ways can be multiple through which you can experience the things. Then the next principle is learning is both an active and reflective process. It is not just actively involved in it, gaining the information. After gaining, you have to reflect on the process also, what you have gained it. What are your feelings about it? You have to reflect on that one. Then the next principle is learning is a developmental process of accommodation, assimilation, and equilibrium, or sometimes a rejection can take place also, to construct the new information of the new conceptual structures, meaningful representations, or a new mental models. For all those things, learning is a developmental process which involves accommodation, assimilation, and equilibrium. The next principle is the social interaction. Social interaction introduces multiple perspectives through reflection. How? The students are engaged in the society in the group work where the child will be sharing their views and ideas. So, social interaction will be helping them to have the reflections, collaborations, and negotiation, and share their meaning of it. So, this is the principle of the constructivist approach. The next principle is learning is internally controlled and mediated by the learners, because it is learner centered. So, learning is being controlled by the learner itself and being communicated by the learner. So, these are the few principles of the constructivist approach, which are mainly based upon the constructivism theory of constructivism. Now coming to the activities which can be carried out in the classroom. What activities can you give in the classroom where the child can construct their knowledge, understanding, and reflection can take place? So, if you have examples like experimentations, project works can be given to the children, field trips can be taken, group discussions can be given, quiz, role plays, writing essays, poster mailings, many activities you can include in it. Letter writings, essay writing, open-ended questions where they can think about it, group works can be given, negotiation, debates, many things can be given, many activities can be given where the child can construct their understanding and knowledge with their experiences. Now, coming to the advantages and disadvantages, merits and demerits of the constructive approach. Now, we can talk about the advantages. First are the merits. This method of teaching is effective for students who learn better in hands-on-hand environment and helps the students to better relate the information learned in the classroom to their lives. If they are involved hand in hand, practically if they are going to do it, the students who have interest in doing that one, for those students it will be an awesome one. It will work out successfully and it will be more effective for such kind of students, where they will be relating what they have learned with their practical lives. Then the second advantage is it caters the students prior knowledge. It caters to the students prior knowledge, what they have gained experience and they have been kept in the mind, encourages the teachers to spend more time on the students, because the teacher is not teaching anything. The students are constructing it. Only teacher is a guide and a facilitator. So, the teacher can encourages the teachers to spend more time on the students, favorite topics, and allow teachers to focus on important and relevant information. That is, it encourages the teachers to put more effort or more time on the students' interest topics rather the teacher giving the topics. Put interest on the students' topics in which the student have the interest. Give such type of topics to the students. So, the teachers are encouraged to work such type of work in this one. And the next advantage is in the constructivism classroom, students often work in groups rather than individually. So, this will help them to learn social skills which support each other's learning process and value each other's opinions and inputs. For example, if you put in the group discussion children, the social interaction will take place where the child is sharing their ideas, trying to make them understand their opinions. It is not like that forcing them to accept it, you are convincing them to accept and share what you have shared the ideas. So, these are the advantages through which you can inculcate the values also with among the students. Now, coming to the demerits of this constructivist approach which you are talking about. The first one is when we are talking about provision of the environment where the child construct the meaning, understanding of it and knowledge of it based upon the experiences and reflecting. The training should be given to the teachers first. Trained teachers are required for this one. So, the training necessary for constructive teaching is extensive and often requires costly long-term professional development courses, and this is not provided to the teachers in many of the schools. So, this may be unreasonable for the school budget as well as the disruptive of the students' learning. So, because of the expensiveness, the training programs are not given to the teachers for this approach. The next disadvantage is with an average number of students in one classroom, teachers are unable to customize their curriculum to each student, as their prior knowledge will vary. For example, one student may have more information related to previously. Few students may have little information to it. So, it will be very difficult for a teacher to know how much the child knows beforehand related to this new information which I am going to provide it. So, that type of thing will not be happen when the average strength is there in the classroom. Then the next disadvantage is, this eliminates the grading system. Now, we don't know that it is a very difficult task to give the grading. So, this approach will eliminate the grading centered goals and reward, as well as the comparisons of the students statewise and the district specific program. Before you guess the percentages, marks, based upon that we used to declare who is the topper of the state, who is the topper of the district. Now, it is very difficult to grade them as it and declare who is standing first in the state or a district level due to this constructive approach. This is one of the demerits of the constructive approach, but in spite of the demerits, this constructive approach is the best approach which the teachers fail in the present scenario. So, that it is the teacher who makes this constructive approach effective in the classroom. Now, coming to the second approach we are talking about, that is the collaborative approach. Now, coming to the objectives of this collaborative approach, the first one is to explore various instructional approaches to collaborative learning. This will help the teacher to find out the instructional approaches, how the teacher is going to conduct in the classroom the teaching with the collaborative learning. So, teacher has to first explore the instructional approaches to collaborative learning, then try to understand team based learning as an approach to collaborative learning. Collaborative is working together. So, try to understand. So, the main objective is to understand the team based learning, which is an approach to the collaborative learning. Then the third objective of this approach is to practice integrating collaborative learning into a course in a way that aligns with students' learning objectives and intent outcomes. So, you have some expectations that through this one my students should gain this one. This domain objective should be achieved, or this cognitive or affective or psychomotor domains objectives should be achieved through this teaching process. So, through this collaborative approach will help them to achieve this target. So, it will help them to practice integrating this collaborative learning into a course which will help the students learning to achieve these objectives and the outcomes which the teacher expects. Now, coming to the concept and meaning of collaborative learning. Now, collaborative learning is an educational approach to teaching and learning process that involves group of students working together to solve a problem or complete a task or create a product. If the teacher assign a task, when the group of students work together and solve the problem and complete the work, this approach is called as a collaborative learning. Now, according to Gerlach, collaborative learning is based on the idea that learning is natural. What is the idea? That is, learning is a naturally social act. What is now learning? It is a naturally social act in which the participants talk among themselves. That is, they share together, they talk to each other. So, Gerlach says that collaborative learning is based on the idea that learning is naturally social act in which the participants are talking to themselves, among themselves. So, it is through the talk that learning occurs. So, we can say that collaborative learning is sharing the ideas, collaboration with each other, discussing the things with each other, sharing their ideas, living in a community and expressing their views, brainstorming on a particular thing, that is putting their different ideas coming from the different students together at a point, interacting with each other based upon those ideas. So, this is called as a collaborative learning. Now, coming to the principles of collaborative learning. First of all, the first principle is the individual benefit. We talk about the individual benefit rather than a group one. So, individual benefit is just as important as the overall corporate benefits. Instead of talking about what the corporate has benefited with this one, first talk about the individual benefit, what the learner has gained through it. When you are teaching in the classroom through this approach, what the learner has achieved this one. what are the expected outcomes of the teacher has been attained or not. The think of the individual benefit first is the principle. The second one is the strategy before technology. Before using the technology, first think of the strategies. What strategies you can use it in the classroom where the child can construct and work together. That is the second principle of this collaborative learning. Now coming to the third principle of collaborative learning, that is to listen to the voice of the others, that is the other teachers or the students. Listen to them, give an opportunity for them to share the ideas and thoughts, express themselves, listen to them, and you also contribute your ideas, share your ideas along with them. Then the fourth one is the learn to get out of the way. You should know how to solve the problem, how to get out of this certain problem. If you are in a certain conflict, that whether you have to choose between any two careers, any two subjects, what are you going to do it? You should learn how to solve this problem, how to convince it so that I can choose any one of this one. Then the second principle is lead by examples. Always teachers should provide an examples to the students where they can go carry on with the work. Then the sixth one is the integrate into the flow of work. What your ideas and thoughts have been put in the brainstorming session, try to integrate into the workflow. If you are integrating everybody's ideas, then the work can be going smoothly. It will work out and a successful product will be produced. Then the second principle is create a supportive environment. When you are talking about a role play, if you are asking the students to do enact a thing, you have to provide an environment where they can enact the scene. So such type of environment when they provide it, it will encourage the students to demonstrate the things which you are doing it well. Then the eighth principle is the measure what matters. Just concentrate on the things which matters to the learners and to the teaching process, teaching and learning process. What are the things matters to this one? How the students are going to achieve the task, how they are going to benefit through this one. That should be measured first, not done the corporate things. Then the ninth one is the persistence, what is going to be have the existence things, how the students are going to learn, construct the new information, construct their understanding and knowledge, that should be included. Then the 10th is adapt and evolve. When your new information is being received, try to adopt it and implement it. It's not like that whatever you are having previous knowledge, you are just carrying on with that. The new information which you have got it, try to correlate with the previous existing knowledge and carry out your work. Then the 11th one is employee collaboration also benefits the customer. Here customer is the parents and then an employee here you are talking about the teacher. So the teacher collaboration also benefits the parents because the parents are expecting a lot from the teachers. So the collaborative learning will be mainly dependent upon the teachers' collaboration also. Then the 12th and the last principle of the collaborative learning is collaboration can make the world a better place. When we work together, your social skills are being enhanced. You know how to adopt it, how you try to adjust in the society. So when you will be having this collaboration will make a world a better place without any prejudices. Coming to the teacher's role in a collaborative classroom and the student's role in the collaborative learning classroom. What is the role of the teacher over here? The teacher here will act as a facilitator. The teacher will provide the opportunities to the students here. Then the teacher will act as a model, that is how to carry on with the thing. The teacher will act as the model. Role model will be there. The teacher will demonstrate and show it so that the students will get acquainted to it. The teacher is a best coach also. If there is a problem, teacher will help the students in training how to solve those problems. So teacher acts as a facilitator, as a model and as a coach over here. Then the role of the students over here, as we said, students are working together. Their students are active participators in this run. And they will be assuming different roles if they are working in the group. So they are role assumers also. And when they are working together in a group, leadership will be developed. So they will act as a leader also. So, the role of the student is active participators, role assumers and the leaders over here. And the role of the teacher is a facilitator, model and coach. Now, coming to the different activities or assignments that will suit in the collaborative learning are case studies. Ask the students to just go through the different case studies of any student or discussions on any topic. Students moderate discussions can be carried on in the classroom. Debates can be there for negotiation, skills can be developed through this one. Collaborative writing, together they can put the writing. Collaborative presentations, they can have the PPT presentation on any topic or any project work, they can do the presentation of it one. We have different games in the languages which will help them to develop the language. We have demonstrations, drama, roles, role plays, etc. So, these are the different activities which can be carried out in the classroom. Now, we have advantages and disadvantages of collaborative learning. Now, coming to the advantages first. The first advantage is students are involved in this one. So, the involvement of the learners in higher learning. So, here the students are involved in the higher levels. So, learning will play stakes and the higher level. The students get excited about learning because they are involved and work together. The students are more excited. Now, we are going to do this one, when you are going to do this one. The knowledge is obtained from the students here rather than the teachers. The teachers are not giving the knowledge, the students are giving the knowledge over here. This method will foster the students a positive attitude such as the cooperation, tolerance, working together, cooperative tolerance, being patient and having leadership qualities, many aspects. So, they will be having positive attitude development in the learners. It will also train the students to express or convey their ideas. Because we are working together, each and everyone has the freedom to share their ideas and convey their ideas freely. That freedom is there. Now, coming to the disadvantage of this collaborative learning, it is time consuming for new teachers because the new teachers are not trained in this aspect. So, it takes lot of time for the teacher to assign the task and check out the presentation of it, acts as a model or a coach for them. It requires adequate facilities and infrastructures also. When we talk about role play, we need the infrastructure according to that one. If we want to talk about the experimentations, we need the facilities of the labs. So, we require all those things, and it also creates confusion in the classroom sometimes. So, these are the few disadvantages of the collaborative learning, but in spite of the demerits, it is a very good method. It works out in the classroom. Then the third topic which we are going to speak about is the eclectic approach. Here, the objective of eclectic approach is to enable the learners to use the language creatively outside the classroom. That is the main thing, not in the classroom, in the classroom as well as the outside the classroom. So, it will help the learners to use the language creatively outside the classroom environment. Apart from this, it also develops interest in the learners as well as develops the different skills like listening, speaking, reading and writing. It focuses on all the 4 basic skills of the language. Now, coming to the definition of it, eclectic method, when you talk about eclectic approach, it is a method of language education, we can say, that combines various approaches and methodologies to teach language depending upon the aim of the lesson and the abilities of the learner. Till now, we were saying that to teach one particular concept, we will be dealing only with the grammar translation, only with the direct method like this. But when it comes to the eclectic method, according to it, when we are going to teach a particular lesson, you can have a choice, or you can use one approach, or you can use more than one approaches to teach that particular concept. Now, coming to the role of the teacher in the eclectic, it is very important role played by the teacher in the eclectic approach, because here the teacher is using more than one approach. So, teacher has to decide it, which method is suitable for me to teach this concept. The teacher should be very alert with this one. Now, we will see what are the few roles of the teacher. The first one, when the teacher is using the grammar translation method, what this will be teaching it? When the teacher uses this method, it is a method of teaching languages by which students learn grammatical rules and then apply those rules by translating between the target language and the native language. So, the teacher should be well acquainted with the two languages, that is the native language as well as the target language, to translate it and give the proficiency over the speaking of it. So, translation as well as teaching becomes very important role of the teacher. Then the next method will be the direct method, where the teacher can use it in the classroom. In this method, the teacher refrains from using the student's native language. The target language is directly used for teaching all the four skills, that is listening, speaking, reading and writing to this one. And the third one, the teacher which is going to use is the structural approach, or structural and situational approach we can call it as. In this approach, the teacher will be teaching language through a careful selection, gradation and presentation of the vocabulary items and structures through the situation based activities. So, the teacher should be very creative to create the situations in this one. Then the next the method or approach the teacher can use, it is the audio lingual or audio visual method we can say. In this style, the teaching students are taught through a system of reinforcement. For example, if the test shows something and asks something to the students, when we get the response, you will provide the reward to them one. So, reinforcement is there in this one. Here the new words and the grammar are directly taught to the, without using the students' native language, but through the various sources like using the demo, using the audio visual clips. The teacher can do, by drilling and practicing the teacher can teach this one. So, the teacher focuses on the grammar through the drill and practice in the audio lingual approach. Now, coming to the next one, that is a bilingual method. As we said, the teacher should be competent enough to have the knowledge of the two languages first. The teacher should be well versed with this one. So, here the word bilingual means the ability to speak two languages fluently. So, in bilingual sentences, the teacher, in the bilingual method, the teacher focuses here, the teacher teaches the language by giving mother tongue usage equivalently of the words or the sentences here. So, the teacher uses mother tongue as well as the native as well as the target language to teach the concept. And the next one is a communicative language teaching. As we all know this emphasizes on the oral method of teaching. It aims to develop the communicative competence in students. So, the teacher should be well competent enough in creating the situations where the students can communicate over here. Then we have the total physical response, which will be based on the theory that the memory is enhanced through association with the physical responses. And there is a silent way also in this method. The teacher can uses a combination of silence, that is the gestures which focus on the students' attention. So, here there are various methods and approaches which the teacher can utilize in the classroom. A combination of these methods can be used by the teacher. Now, coming to the advantages and disadvantages of the eclectic method. Now, teacher is involving all the methods over, so benefits will be more. So, here the advantages are the teacher has more flexibility. The teacher cannot depend only on one method in the classroom, the teacher can shift the method in between depending upon the content and the situation. No aspect of language skill is ignored over here. All the skills are being given total equal importance in it. LSRW order is being followed. There is a variety in the classroom. There is no rigidity, a lot of variety of activities is given in the classroom, which will enhance the creativity of the students. Classroom atmosphere is dynamic. According to the situations, the environment will be changed depending upon the need of the learners, classroom situations will be changed. So, flexibility will be more in this one. So, these types of programs not only negotiate the teacher skill development within an improved recognition of respect for cross cultures and multilinguistic classrooms settings, but also encourages student pride in their heritage, language, communication and preferences and self-identity. So, it will help the students to have the self-identity, preferences and the competencies in the communication process. There are few disadvantages in the eclectic process approach, that is, it requires adequate training and preparation for in this method, because the teacher has using more one method. So, teacher should be well prepared with this one, and it sometimes seems more confusing because using 2 to 3 approaches may sometimes create confusion for the slow learners. and it requires a highly skilled teacher. So, we require skilled trained teachers to handle eclectic approach in the classroom. It is not easy for a normal teacher to carry on with this eclectic approach. So, these are the few advantages and disadvantages of eclectic approach. Now, coming to the evaluation questions, these questions will be helping you to have the professional growth in your career, children, because we are talking about the constructivistic approach, collaborative approach and eclectic approach. These are the major approaches which nowadays we are using in the classroom environment. So, as a teacher trainee also, it will be very helpful during your teaching practice session, internship process, where you will be trying to incorporate all these approaches in your teaching process. This will benefit you theoretically as well as practically. So, try to solve these questions, and these are few references to which you can refer and get more information related to these three approaches. Have a nice day, children. Thank you so much for listening with the patience.